What is a response essay? It goes by at least one other name, the free response. And that name, because it has the word free in it, really emphasizes the idea here. A response essay usually doesn't have a template or a formula or a lot of rules that you need to follow in order to write the assignment or the essay. It gives you a lot of freedom to kind of come in at your own angle or to develop the piece in a lot of different ways. You can do a lot of things with a response or a pre-response essay or assignment. You are going to have some general rules. Usually, you're given something to respond to, a movie or an event or a person, a book, an idea. Um, Now, it could be a collection of things, a collection of artwork, a collection of poetry, or a mix, a painting, a couple poems, an article. Um, and you are basically told, challenged to look at the material you are given, and the mentor, the tutor, the editor, is telling you, what can you do with this? How can you create interest, maintain it, reward it? Um, so you need to respond and use the material at hand. You don't have to use every piece of it, but you need to make sure that you are letting that material form that very, central topic that you're responding to, and then you can develop it as you will. Now, when a free response is used as a school assignment, usually you are given some other requirements, the size. There could be some other things that certain other colleges and classes want to include. For what we're doing here, the format doesn't necessarily matter. What I mean by that is just go ahead and type up 3 paragraphs. You don't need to double space. You don't need to use a certain font or whatnot. Just, I think the rule of thumb is don't put any obstacles in the way of the reception of your essay. Your essay needs to create interest, maintain it, reward it in your audience, and it doesn't need to draw attention to itself because you decided to write in purple font that is 25 point. This huge all caps, all capital essay. Well, that sounds kind of ridiculous, and I think indeed it is. But this is a free country, and if I don't put those instructions, if I don't spell it out, what's to stop you from writing in 25 point font, pink color or whatever? Nothing but just the common sense notion that's going to draw attention to itself in a way that is extra content. It's outside the content of the paper, and that's a gimmick. Let's not do that. Just go ahead and use normal font, normal size. The word processor you're using is programmed to go at a very acceptable setting, and just run with that. So I'm not going to load this up on rules concerning that. Just make sure that your paragraphs flow. Make sure that they're that I can see, or your reader can see, the progression of your thought through the essay. Don't dilute or weaken the unity of something by bringing in unrelated material. And be careful not to have it be desultory. Okay. And by that I mean don't have it jump around all over the place without some sort of connections helping the reader understand the jumps. All right. So that's what the word desultory means. It doesn't mean downcast or depressing. It means jumping around all over the place. If at the end of the day there's a method to that jumping around, it could be effective. Usually it just is indicative of a writer that doesn't have control over their thinking, and thus their writing. So there's a lot of freedom here, and sometimes there's a tendency to not know what to do with that, and to be afraid of that, actually. I mean, it doesn't seem like you might be afraid of it now, but once you start getting into it, you might realize that you wish you had more instruction and more, well, what does he want? But see, that's not what I want to give you, because that's going to keep you very passive as an artist. And you might not think of yourself as an artist, but you're going to create something here, and you have the power of design here, and the right to design it how you want to. So if you don't have those creative juices flowing, or if you don't have design templates in your mind that you can mix and match already, you might sit there thinking, well, what do I say? And if that's the case, just write something that kind of more or less does it and send it in. You're going to get an okay grade, a good grade, but for meeting the assignment. But that should be an indication to you that you don't have enough creative textual templates in your head. You haven't watched enough good movies. You haven't read enough poetry. You haven't listened carefully to enough music. And you might think you have, but you've been maybe engaging these texts in a way that is purely leisure or emotive or entertainment. What I mean by that is you might not be engaging the music that you listen to up to this point critically. You might just be listening to it very passively and enjoying it, but you're not thinking about why it was made that way, why something works here and not there, why the song may start out strong but lag at the end, why one song moves you but the other doesn't. You're not necessarily aggressively, intentionally thinking about how the pieces work to form this whole that you like or don't like, or that works or doesn't work so well. So that's one thing that we want to develop here as we bring text into your life and discussion about the text as you watch these videos and as you think about it. And that's why we bring unusual stuff to highlight the template and the structure and the surface elements that are working to create an overall impression that reinforces the substance of it. Okay, so just give yourself some time. Don't get frustrated, and don't write it off, in the sense of, well, this is useless or this is pointless or whatever. If you're struggling with this essay, just get it done. Realize that you are struggling with coming up with something that you think genuinely creates interest, maintains it, rewards it, and then just practice some more as the manual's coming and as you continue writing throughout this Associate of Arts degree. So that's one way writing instruction works. Part of it is to show you your strengths and weaknesses, and then to allow you to bear the revelation to handle that knowledge in a right way. I'm not going to ever overwhelm you with comments about things that you should change and improve on. That could be overwhelming and ultimately counterproductive, right? It's just little by little. You have to keep on at it, and you'll get better as it goes. It's like watering a plant. Everything is proportional and in its right pacing. One way to kill a plant is not to give it any water. Another way to kill a plant is just to overwater it constantly. So, as you're trying to grow as a text creator, I'm not saying as a writer, but maybe as you're trying to grow in your literacy, okay? Higher literacy is one of our core goals, and that means that you understand more about how texts work. Just give yourself some time to grow at this. And here's a challenge for you. If you're given this sort of latitude, how are you going to make connections here? What are you going to say about these items that we've presented to you to write about? What common theme do they have? And how can you make that theme complicated? How can it be complicated, if you will? Well, what I mean is, when you look at the material that we've given you, they all deal in some way with loss, right? You have the library story by Jorge Luis Borges. I hope you've read about him and have read about his blindness and his occupation. And for him to write about people searching through the library, you don't search for something unless you lost it. You see what I'm saying? So they're searching in the library, and if you did, which you should have, because we asked you to do it as part of the assignment, if you went to that website and experimented with trying to find strings of letters that could form words, you realize how long it could be before you find anything meaningful, any clue. I mean, if you really took that seriously and you stayed at it for a couple of days, what would you come up with? And if you came up with something like, you know, uh, just pick something, spoon, SPOON. If you actually found the word spoon after 3 or 4 days, wouldn't you be tempted to try to find some meaning behind that? I mean, spoon? What could that spoon? How is that going to give you any ethical or insight, philosophical insight on where you came from, why you're here, where you're going? How's it going to answer your big questions? And that's all you get, spoon. So couldn't that be the plight of people who have rejected faith or have decided that there is no God and this is a material cosmos and all you have are atoms and energies and you're looking for meaning and you can go your whole life and all you find is boom. I mean, what does that do to you if you were actually made in the image of God? What sort of ethical decisions are you going to make? How are you going to battle the depression and the despair that comes? What are you going to use to self-medicate in that sense? So what has been lost in the library of Babel? I mean, that's what I want to know, right? And if that's the case, if you can start with that and try to figure that out, then how does the two poems relate to that? The poem one art, there's just one thing that's going on throughout your life, and what is that poem talking about? How does someone lose a continent? Well, she's not being overly abstract here. I mean, one can simply move from America to France. That's all you have to do. I'm not saying she did that. She might be metaphorical or symbolic there, but eventually, she goes from losing small things to losing bigger and bigger. And what's the biggest thing of all that she loses? And how is she dealing with that? She's creating a text to deal with it, right? She's actually writing that poetry. And what about Storm Windows, which is a incredibly nuanced poem if you think about it. If you can just see the core symbols that are being used in that poem, the glass for transparency, glass for shield, glass for division, right? Glass for a liminal space. A liminal space is that in-between space between one accepted area and another, like that window back behind me. I have it covered with the curtain right now, but that stands between the indoors and the outdoors. Is it indoor or outdoor? It's in the middle. It's liminal. Maybe you should look up that word, liminal. It's coming from a door, all right, ancient times. The bar across would sit on the two pillars, and that bar across would be called the liminus, the limit. And as you stood under the door, you were in a kind of a no man's land. Were you coming? Were you going? Are you inside? Are you outside? So the liminal space became sort of powerful in terms of the symbolism involved. So the seashore is liminal because that's where the sea, one completely different terrain, meets the land, and you're walking on that seashore. Are you coming? Are you going? What going? The sea and the ocean hold some sort of deep meaning for us. I don't want to expound that now because it feels like I'm searching in the dark for this, but I know that it's somewhere in that dark room, this notion that the ocean means something to us. Why is it a prime vacation spot? Why are we drawn to this? Even at the dangers that are there at that the liminal space. Just read about modern tidal waves and you'll see what I'm talking about. College is often a liminal space, which is one reason the whole crazy institution is still surviving, because we all kind of realize that it overcharges and it leads people into debt quite a bit, and that the degree you go for might not be the thing you actually end up working in. But so many people still want to go because they want those 4 years of just not being a completely dependent adult and no longer also not being a child. It's a liminal space. Okay, so when you're reading Storm Windows, he's talking about this membrane, this and water, the flowing of the water, the stream. Stream has notion of the way experiences flow through us, the way the thoughts flow through us. So you have stream of consciousness as a type of writing style that the modern mind has developed. The modern artist, not everyone writes stream of consciousness, but you can run into that every now and then. And what has this person lost? Right? He's telling you he lost something as he's looking at the window with the water on it and the grass underneath it. What does the grass need to live? Water. Is it getting the water from the rain at that moment? No. That window is keeping it from getting the nourishment it needs. In fact, the window was supposed to protect the house, right? But it never got on there on time. As they were putting it on, the storm came. So the window is kind of lost at sea as well. It's out of place. How does it feel to be a thinking mind that revolves, as much as people maybe are reluctant to admit it, that revolves around the notion of something bigger and better? Perfection, the search for truth, the search for beauty, the answers to where did we come from, why are we here, where are we going, what should we do, right? And what happens when you feel out of place in the world? Because something is off. You don't know exactly what it is, but something is off, okay? And so you don't feel at home in this world anymore, but this is the only world you've got. And things aren't doing the function they were meant to do. Yet there they are, still functioning in their own inner, in a way contained in themselves, but not functioning in a way to properly work in the environment. So you can have an incredibly intelligent person that knows a lot of things that is actually very ineffective in society because they have no alignment, they have no proper fit. Okay, so what was lost there? So you have these texts that are really, if you look at it, they're all dealing about loss. So if you want, take that, run with it, write your free response on that somehow. Explain to me what type of loss it is. Or, well, you don't have to explain it. This is free response. What can you do with it? So this is a challenge as a writer, right? And it's not something you should just wait until the last moment to do. So think about it carefully. Let it, that's one reason that you're watching this video early, because then it gives you a week to just let these notions roll around in your head. And what happens is you have mental percolation, okay? To percolate is to sit and to just to have a maturing process, if you will, to let the ideas, the questions roll around in your head, if you will, be up there in your consciousness. And as the days pass and you try to think on them. Now, this is also a little bit part of time management here, because if you get the question early in your head, you can tell yourself, hey, I've got 5 minutes here where I'm just waiting for class to start or something like that, and I'm going to think on this question for 5 minutes. And then you begin to realize the value of 5-minute sections in your day when you're thinking actively, intentionally thinking about something. And I don't know if it can ever drop lower than 5 minutes. What's the point of thinking on something for 1 minute? Although what happens is you do that a couple times, and then all of a sudden, in an unexpected time, unexpected place, slam, the answer comes. And you see the connection, or you see what you want to do. You see the design you want to take. You see what you want to write. And it starts to take shape. That's the result of percolation. So give yourself some time to think about it. But now listen, the internet is there as a teaching tool for you. AI, we don't want you to write your essays on AI, but AI can certainly help you. So can just Googling stuff. So do not ignore this world of information, okay? And ask AI or Google or Bing or whatever you use, whatever search engine, what is a free response essay? Go to YouTube and see if you can find a video or two that explains what a free response essay is. And maybe you can find some examples online that you can read. So that's, you can always come to the links that are provided in the manual, but I also want to be saying, hey, you've got to learn how to teach yourself, right? You got to learn how to recognize the question, why is it valuable, why you want to get the answer, and where you're going to go to get the information that's going to help you build the answer. And, what are your resources? How are you going to use those resources? What are your resources right now? Smart people around you, your teachers, me, your parents, other students, public libraries. Yes, the public library. And of course, the internet and artificial intelligence. So use what you can to help you grow and to understand how to do this. Please don't use artificial intelligence to write your essays. That's shortcutting the whole process here. We understand that you probably are going to be at workplaces that allow you to do that and expect you to do that, and then at that point, that's part of your job. But this is a chance for you to actually get the skills. The way you handle AI as a writer is you learn how to write yourself, so that down the line when AI is writing for you, you can look at the result and fix it. It's going to need revision. It's going to need you're going to need to put elements of style on it. I'm talking about down the line when you can use AI to write reports and whatever for your work or for your life. Very helpful. That's where the future is headed. There's no turning back there. So in other words, right now, most people don't need to become better writers. They need to become better editors. Okay. But the thing is, you don't ever really become a good editor without first learning how to write. So you really do need to practice these things on your own and write something, even though that you realize down the line you probably are not going to be doing that sort of thing. You're going to probably be editing and revising what artificial intelligence writes for you. But in order to get to a level of proficiency there, you need to be doing some grunt, on the ground practice of this right now, grunt work. You know what I'm saying? You need to be doing it yourself. So, all right. If you have any questions about this, email me, text me, call me, and or talk to students, teachers. Hey, if you do have some questions about this, you realize you have something that's stopping you from getting going on this, you got to ask yourself, how am I going to solve that? And then you devise strategies for potential solutions. You work the ones that seem to be bearing a return of investment on your time and energy, and you come up with solutions. So that's active, aggressive thinking, and that's what you need to be doing here. Okay. All right. Hey, thank you for watching.